Hello guys and welcome back to this channel. So last week I lost this bizarre trade right here because of trend analysis mistake. I did a very serious analysis mistake and it ended up losing me a very good trade. This could have been a good trade all the way back down, but it was a losing trade because it was wrong. The direction I wanted price to go was totally wrong. Price went inside and just swept through it. Why did it do that? Now I want to talk about this because most of you guys will still do this same thing, so just make sure my mistake is not your mistake. Learn from my mistake so that you not do the same thing, right? Now initially, whenever I do my trend analysis, I always take my time and understand whatever is happening. But yes, last week I did not. It's not about me saying I've made a mistake. No, I was wrong. I was totally wrong. Why? Because yes, of course, I did realize that we have our last high and our last low right here. And obviously, I also noticed that price gave us a newer high right there, giving us an imbalance range, right? So if price takes out a last high, the topmost part is just an imbalance zone. So price have to find a newer balance zone to actually start shooting all the way up. It could be a retracement, it could be just a pullback and a continuation. It's that same move every single time, right? So yes, how did I get this wrong? So when this actually happened, price took out this last high right here, giving us a newer high. I actually realized that, but I also noticed that this right here was a very serious rejectional zone. That was when price actually started rejecting within this zone right here. So in my mind, if price breaks above this high, we are continuing our uptrend, which is actually solid. But I also forgot and I made a wrong analysis that if price breaks below this zone right here, then we are now obviously in a downtrend. That was the mistake I did. So when price broke through this zone and we dropped all the way down, in my mind, everything I looked for should now be a downward movement. Where should I be looking for to executing a trade? So first things first, the order block is one good zone you should be looking for to executing a trade ever since or anytime you are in a downtrend or an uptrend. Other blocks are perfect to execute trades from because with those zones, if price wants to continue that upward movement, it continues it immediately. If price doesn't want to do so, it just drops back down and that is it. So yes, I wanted to execute my trade around this zone right here, and that was quite a very nice level to execute a trade. But when you look at the trade itself, you realize that it went straight through my stop loss without even hesitating, nothing. It just picked it. I don't even get time to come into the market and cancel this trade because I was actually quite convinced it's going to drop. And when I saw this alert on my phone that price took my trade, I did not think about it. I did not think twice. I just left it to run. The next thing I saw was my stop loss gets triggered, and I came into the market. I was quite it was quite not really good because that was quite a very big trade that I executed right here. You know, I don't really execute small lot sizes, so it wasn't a laughable trade. But yes, so far so good. Today we are in better trades right now. Price did come back and took me out of break even on the second TP right here or the second trade right here, but the first trade was already taken, so that was good. But let's get back to what happened. So obviously, I executed the trade because I knew if price gets to this zone, that should be the last point of movement. Price shouldn't actually get through this. It should just stay inside and will drop back down, taking out this low. This would have been a very big trade, but it didn't. Price broke through it and we continue pushing all the way up. The question right here is why? What did I actually do wrong for price to just push through my trend right here, or for price to just push through my trade right here without even hesitating? Even though price doesn't really care about my trade, but what did I do wrong? Because it's quite weird right now. I know a lot of you guys have already seen what I did wrong, but let's just go ahead and analyze what is happening. So yes, let me bring this back. That will actually help. So yes, we did have a higher high and a higher low, and price gave us a newer high right there. But you have to also understand that in doing so, all these trends right here within this zone are internal because none of them actually took out the last high until this trend actually did. Despite it being internal doesn't mean it's still not part of this whole trend right here. So we are still currently just in one big trend move, even though we are having internal structures right here. So one big trend move to this high and a rejection followed by another push, which actually couldn't take out this high either. So we are still in an uptrend. We are not in the downtrend, we are still in a what? An uptrend. But when price actually pulled all the way back down and took out this low right here, yes, I should have actually understood that this is an internal BOS. Sorry, this is an internal change of character, market structure shift, because price is still in an uptrend, which is this whole trend right here. Now, if I had actually just exercised a little bit of patience and went all the way back to, I think I actually locked the tools, so sorry about that. So if I had actually just waited for or just exercised a little bit of patience and go to the hourly time frame, sorry, the 4 hour time frame or the daily time frame, I would have actually realized that this was just a retracement. This whole level was just a retracement. And this is the last order block of the trend. So what will it do? It's just going to take off from the last order block. When we started this, I told you other blocks are the best levels to actually execute a trade because the price is going to continue going up. It's just going to shoot up massively from that zone. Why? Because buyers already came in around that zone. So yes, if price comes back to that same level, it's going to shoot all the way up again. But what did I do? I did not do that. I did not actually see this because I was busy looking at the internal structures, which was this zones right here. That's why it's always good for you to execute or make analysis on bigger time frames like 4 hour or daily. At least you understand something good. Now, yes, even though this is a 1 hour time frame, and I could have also understood that I shouldn't have been selling around this zone. Why? Because price made something extremely clear. After dropping down to this zone right here, it pulled back to that same zone, had a rejection and broke through it, indicating that the sellers that were actually in the market around this zone couldn't actually hold price all the way up. So this was not just one trade that I did a mistake or one mistake that I did. I did two mistakes right there because around this zone now changed into a change of character. Even if I was going to trade the 1 minute, sorry, the 1 hour time frame, I should have actually understood that right here being a change of character also indicates that this zone is a change of character. So what do? I look forward for the high of that change of character to get taken for me to execute my buy. I look forward for another high, which is this current high right here, to get taken for me to look forward for another buy because I know we've changed character and we are pushing all the way up. You see the actual sense in this. So sometimes when you come into the market, yes, these are live markets. We do get confused sometimes, but it's always good for you to actually understand some couple of things before you execute a trade. I made these mistakes. I executed a bad trade because price told me twice. This right here was a drop. Yes, a change of character on a 1 hour. It could have equally just been a what? A single drop right there on the daily or the 4 hour time frame. But that doesn't guarantee me to make that mistake because even though we had this change of character right here and it pulled from this other block, it still gave me a reason to buy, which is another change of character right here with a pullback and a continuation. What do? I execute my buys immediately because I know price is shooting all the way up. I know price is not coming back down. After a change of character, what happens? Price is going up. Now, if we actually shot up to this zone, pull liquidity, and also drop below this zone, I know for sure that the buyers around this zone are now completely gone. So price is going to do what from this range is going to drop all the way back down. So you realize that I did not just once, but two mistakes. This does not guarantee you to be a non-profitable trader. Why? Because mistakes happen. Sometimes we come into the market and we just do a lot of mistakes, right? It's that simple. Everybody does this. Everybody has a day that they are going to guess everything wrong, or they are going to look at the market differently, and it will end up hurting their account, which is why you always have to understand what risk management. Imagine I actually kept every single dime I had on my account on this trade right here, and they just swept through it like that. What would have happened? Today I wouldn't have even gotten the chance to execute two trades right here and two trades right there. Now I've already taken first TP around this zone, or sorry, I've already taken first TP when price shot all the way up above this zone. When this came to this level, I took first TP and took one TP right here again, but you can see that we came back down and took me out of this trade right here at break even. But that's not the problem. You can always get a trade to execute. There's always time for you to execute a trade, or there's always another trend that is going to move in your favor, but there won't be an account always waiting for you. So despite the mistakes that I did, despite me not even realizing that this right here was a change of character and price shooting all the way up, taking me out of my trade, I also understood that my risk management is solid. Now, I did not actually realize this until today, this morning, when I got into the market to analyze and bought from here all the way up. Just also execute trades based on this trend right here. That's when I realized it, and I had to just make this video because sometimes things do get messy. Sometimes we do forget about things, but that doesn't guarantee you to be doing that same mistakes over and over and over again. So next time that I'm going to come into the market, I try my best and make my mind extremely clear, extremely focused to understand what is actually happening within the trend. In any case, there's a problem. I know this is where the problem is coming from, not my strategy, but this right there. Now, even though this or I lost this trade right here, my strategy was even given on the 4 hour time frame again. Now I do have a lot of strategies, but another strategy was given on the 4 hour time frame, and I couldn't even execute that trade. Let's look at this. Now I did tell you that on the 4 hour time frame, this is going to be quite extremely easy for you to understand. This was just the actual trend. Nothing serious was happening. We had our last low right there, last high getting taken just around this zone right here. And you can see that this was just a series of trend movements just to pull liquidity from the other block, and an actual trend push all the way up again. Now, yes, this actually took out this last low right here. You could have been looking for sales, but that did not happen. And that's not even what I'm going to talk about. Look at my strategy right here, which is the SBS. You can see the double bottom right there, and immediately after that, price took out the high, creating a change of character. What do I do? You obviously know what I was going to do. I've already been in a buy right here, all the way up. I've already been in a buy and with my stop loss below this zone. And trust me, I would have cut this whole trend up to this zone right here, because I always catch these big trades because of my psychology. What do? I always execute two trades around this zone right here or above. With this candle retracing, trust me, I would have already gotten out of one trade, and I'll leave the second trade to push, and I still would have been holding that second trade all the way up. So you see that even though I did not get that trade and I lost a trade, my strategy was just lying down here waiting for me to execute. And I didn't, because I was busy looking at the wrong things on a different chart. This happens. This happens, but this does not guarantee you to be executing what bad trades every single day. You get that? That is very, very simple. So yes, this is just what we are looking at today. Price might eventually start shooting all the way back down, which will be quite interesting and very, very good. Right now, we are currently just consolidating. You can see what's just happening around here. Another SBS strategy. You can see that we had a double bottom just below this zone right here, and price shot all the way up, immediately taking out this high. So with the SBS strategy, I'll be looking forward to continuing the buy from this range all the way up with a stop loss just below this zone right here. I can see that we are actually above this high and there's a rejection. So I'll probably just wait for that rejection. Or I can basically just go to a 1 minute or 5 minute time frame to wait for this candle that is pushing down to 10 bullish. Turning bullish doesn't necessarily mean price changing character. It could just be an actual bearish, an actual bullish engulfing candle, just indicating that buyers are coming into the market and I'll buy all the way up again. But so far, so good. This is just what happened last week. Quite a very interesting thing. I lost a trade just because I was being stupid on the charts. I don't understand what was going on. I did not take my time to make any analysis. And yes, that was what happens when you are being stupid on the charts. Always, when you come on the charts, try your best and be focused. Where you are focused, you get things very, very easy because it's just common sense. It's common sense. It's nothing serious. It's just common sense. So yes, that's just what happens. I'll see you guys in the next video. Thank you guys for watching. I know this week or this past weeks I haven't really been online. Yes, I haven't really had time for YouTube that much. Yes, a lot of people have requested some videos. I'll try my best and make them. But yeah, I haven't really been online. I'll try my best and make those videos for you guys. I'll see you guys soon. Thank you guys for watching.